And we're live. What's going on, guys? Sunday night. Welcome to UTG Sunday Night Live. Oh, we ate Carrabba's. Have you ever eaten at Carrabba's? It's an Italian chain, but it's actually very good, right? But you end up, anytime you eat at this place, Carrabba's, you end up with what I call carraggiata, okay? And it's because they use they over-season everything. They throw like a tarragon and whatnot and stuff. And it's just like, oh, right? So I got carraggiata. So if I seem like I'm stuck in mud, it's because like I am, right? Oh God! And I'm not wearing any shoes. I feel terrible about that. I feel weird. I don't think a male should ever be shoeless in public. And even though I'm in my house, right, I still feel like I'm in the public, so I'm not wearing any shoes. So it's like I feel weird, like I'm naked, right? But who do we got here? Oh, I can't even start. Okay. Mr. Will J. Russell, Finch, Matt S. Terrence Seymour, Joe K. Boss Racing, Chris Festmeyer, Mopar Den, what's happening, brother man? Joe Alcott, Big Bear. Always good to see Big Bear. You guys are awesome. Donna Winnie English, Bryce Rigel, Wrinkled Engine. Carrabba's. Bro, it's not that bad. They have, I don't know about everything on the menu. They have this thing called the Chicken Trio. It's like chicken done 3 different ways with a side of Alfredo, fettuccine Alfredo. It's actually really, really good. And they give you the bread with the olive oil and the seasonings and whatnot. So, Mexican Spec, I didn't skip you, brother, man. I didn't see you. How are you doing, my brother? George Bonnie, Chris Greenaway. Jason Fitch, she's taking care of the critters or something like that. I mean, if she should be trying to leave me is what she should be doing, but right? Paul Cavazzolo, what's happening, man? Chuck Itel, took me a second. I realized he was not talking about the Slant 6. I don't know what you're talking about. Johnny King, we got to see drag slips for the Miata. It'll never happen. You will never see drag strip times for the Miata. That's because of my own mental defects. I have these issues. I have many issues, which is I have issues. I have issues.
These are your issues.
And why do you need 2 pairs of shoes?
Because I thought you didn't have them.
No, I got those shoes.
Oh, okay.
I took them off. I'm just shoeless.
You should have shoes on.
I know. I feel like
You're in front of a lot of people.
I know. I feel like a slob now.
Yeah, you have to have shoes on.
No, I'm not going to put them on. What were you just talking about? No, you'll never see quarter-mile times or drag strip times on the Miata because in my mind it's like it's a road course car, so it should never ever have an ET associated to it. Does that make any sense? It's like this compartmentalized thing that happens in my head, and that's why I keep everything like separated the way I do.
Hey, everybody.
I'm so glad you came to join this
here.
I know you are.
I'm here.
Well, they can't see you. You're just like this disembodied voice.
Well, I'm going to manage the things now.
Can you here, put your phone down for a second.
Yeah.
Can you just like put your hand, just keep your hand here. So this way people know that there's somebody sitting there. There you go.
Right
Perfect. Yeah. Just come here, keep your hand right there. Just keep your hand there.
Okay.
Okay, and you can make like rabbit signal, rabbit things, right? Okay, yeah. There you go. Okay. Teeth. Yeah. Pointy teeth.
Something there.
Critter Craig. What a name. What's happening, Critter?
That's your hand. That's me. What's up, Donna Wendy? Let's see. I have to be able to read. Disembodied hand, Mommy Adams family. That's right, Jason.
What was his name?
Who?
His cousin
Thing.
had Thing. Thing.
Benny tonight? No.
No, worse. Carraggiata.
Carraggiata. Well, you have to tell people what agita is.
I did. I
explains what agita by itself is.
Oh, it's like an upset stomach.
In Italian.
It's all right, exactly.
And carraggiata.
Carraggiata is the kind of upset stomach you only get from Carrabba's, but you actually pay for it. It's like I swear to God, right? I told her this times, I need to eat something luxurious because it's like life has been hard the past couple of days. I said, I need luxury. So she says, where you are? I says, Let's go get Couragina. Not let's go get the food. Let's go get sick from the food. Right? Only an Italian would do that.
This is true. This is true. Let's see. Yeah. Mike McNally.
In the last 2 months, I put 3 starters in a Hyundai. Finally convinced her to put OEM, problem solved.
Aw.
It's across the board.
What's up, King Eric?
And now I got the sneeze.
Ari made it.
Ari, what's happening, brother man?
Chuck got the t-shirt. Everyone loves it. Cheers.
Nice.
Excellent.
Nice. We're almost set up to do all of our in-house printing on the t-shirts.
Yeah, I'm setting up the dark room right
Yeah,
now.
she set up the dark room, so we'll be able to do like a lot of limited edition shirts.
Yeah,
and,
we'll have like special editions.
special editions.
Limited time only.
Yeah.
My pet peeve, crap parts. Yeah. Crap parts suck.
Okay.
Mark safe from last night tornadoes in Michigan. Were there tornadoes? Oh, that's good.
Senior's Garage.
Where? Okay.
62 Chrysler Saratoga. I can't identify the big block engine. I do know it's not a 361 though. Your only choices on that are 361, 383, 413. Those are your only big block choices on that particular car. So if it's not, look at the front of the motor, look at the distributor, look just to the right of the distributor at the base, and you'll see a rectangular pad if it's a 413. If you don't see a flat rectangular pad right next to the top of the bottom of the distributor, that means it's a low deck motor. So it's either going to be a 361 or 383.
Brian Levin says, hello, you inspired me. Do you think an 8 1/4 will be okay in a PT Cruiser? Stripped down with a warmed up 318 and a 3-speed auto like a 903. Thanks, love the t-shirt.
Yeah. The 903 is a 3-speed manual, believe it or not. The 904 is a 3-speed automatic. The 8 1/4 will be fine behind the automatic. No problem. You'll never have a problem with that. It'll be a problem with a stick. If you like I spit an axle out of one, but that was with drag radials and a stick. But if you got an automatic, no trans brake, and yeah, you'll be fine. 8 1/4 is a great rear for that. Thank you, Zach.
Hankleton, a friend of mine gave me a 1949 Packard Super 8 with a 327
That's a nice car.
3-speed on the column with overdrive. It will be a long-term project as it sat since '86. Did you ever work on one back in the '70s?
No, I never worked on any Packards, but I've always admired those cars. That's a nice car, man. That's a nice car with a straight 8. Cold War Motors did something on Packard. They had a Buick and they had a Packard straight 8. Go to Cold War Motors and check out. You actually contact them because I bet you they're a wealth of information about that engine. But yeah, good luck with that. That's awesome.
Well, Taste Caglion. Trying to send you conditions, but don't know where to send them. Shopper House.
Oh, brother, man, don't send
Thank you. We
conditions.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
but
I
don't have to do
appreciate that. That's wonderful. But
Really
don't.
nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's John Wilburn. It's the John Wilburn.
Where is he?
Right there. Oh,
He just
there he is.
jumped up. What's up, Sean?
What's happening, brother, man? I'm glad you didn't.
Here.
I see. You guys want you and Andy wanted to come to the track the next time.
Oh,
And
yeah, good thing.
yeah, you would have driven 1,000-mile round trip for a broken rock arm.
I was even annoyed.
Oh, she was pissed off.
I wasn't
She's
pissed
like,
off.
she says, burn this car.
I didn't say that. I
Oh,
said,
oh, you were-
I said you should give it to Whistling Diesel.
And she gave it to Diesel, right? She said, right, give the car to Whistling Diesel. I happen to love that car. It's not going anywhere.
I laughed when I said it.
No, you didn't laugh.
Yes, I did. I was
You were like-
joking,
you
obviously.
She was so hardcore last night, right? She says, it's like,
What?
I made the last one.
How was I hardcore?
The car was kind of like it was just dead. Okay, so I pulled the car up on a trailer, and she comes walking up. She says, "What's it up? Why are you putting it up on a trailer?" I said, "It's not going anywhere." I says, "It's dead. I gotta bring it home and figure out what's wrong with it." She's like, "Send it, just blow it up."
say that.
She's too hardcore. If I blow it up, I won't learn what happened. I want to learn what happened. I want to see what happened. Just send it. Give the damn car a whistle and diesel.
It was momentary. I said okay when I understood, and you said that you wanted to see what happened. I was like, oh, all right, that makes sense. You guys can understand, right? Oh, let's see. What's happening? Brother man should be on his shirt. I started watching Unity Motorsports channel last night. Ended up watching nearly all his videos. Great recommendation.
Oh, Andy's awesome. Hey, listen, if we recommend a channel, trust me, you're going to find good stuff there.
Let's see. John Wilburn. I wore my sketchy shirt to the track on Friday. Video to come. We even had a transmission leak and sketchy radiator overflow bottle. Sweet.
You notice in his picture?
Yeah.
John, how old is that picture? You look that's like your junior high school graduation shot, right? He doesn't look like that.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. Maybe in basic skeletal structure, yeah. That hasn't changed very much.
Oh, Tony. What's up, Vince from New Jersey? New Jersey? Yeah, Steve.
Buff, you guys talking about Buff?
Buff?
We actually had a communication from Buff today. Buff is still building his secret stuff for the government, and he'll be gone for a little while yet. But when he comes back, he's already got an office at the shop waiting for him. So
Harry's laughing.
what are you laughing at?
Let's see. Jonathan Couchy.
Thank you, John.
He says, hi Tony, I was wondering if 302 casting heads have the potential for 350 horsepower. I'm keeping them stock valve size and I'm only gasket matching them to the intake with smaller 318 size gaskets, and I'm wondering what it would take.
All right. Yes, the 302s are capable of 350 horsepower. Easy, okay? No, and yes, you could keep the stock valve sizes. They'll work fine. No, gasket matching is not going to be enough. You're going to have to do the bowl work on those. And from what I've seen of the random 302 castings that have come my way, they need help. They need a lot of porting work. So you're going to spend some serious time in there with a grinder. But, right, here's the thing, okay? You're going to spend time with the grinder making those things right, but they're going to surprise you by how much power you'll make with them, right? I mean, seriously. They're very much, they're just so right to the poor side. If you just take them out, like regular stock head, just bolt on an engine. But if you massage that thing and treat it to all like the little, you'll be very pleasantly surprised at what you get out of them.
Paul Capizzola, what's up, Paul? What are you planning to use for rockers on bottle rockets? Do you have any 273 adjustable rockers?
I don't. And that's the kind of thing I usually keep it laying around. There's always a couple of sets of 273 rockers. And before I started this channel, I sold so much stuff. And I looked, I don't have any of those rockers. But I tell you the truth, honestly, the rockers that are on Bottle Rocket right now are literally the very same rockers that car was born with in 1972. So they've been through every step, everything that we've done with this car, since we started messing with it, and one gave up. That doesn't mean that the rockers are just done, and you know what I mean. No, one gave up. That happens, and if you've messed with Mopars at all, that it's not a rare thing. It's not like it just oh my God, it destroyed a rocker, right? No, that happens. Same thing with Chevys. That's also a very common thing with Chevy motors, where they'll just put the rock wall will fatigue, and it just pops the center out of it. It's not a crazy thing. So I'm going to replace that rocker, and next time we go to the track, I'm going to bring a couple of spares, just in case. But I think it was just a fluke. I think it was just a random part that gave up. I tell you the truth, there's probably, if I had gone and bought a set of cheap aftermarket rockers, like roller rockers or anything, I almost guarantee there's a better chance of having a failure with those than with the ones that were on the car, that are on the currently on the car.
It's a metal now that's in the motor.
It's someplace. It won't hurt anything.
Douglas, how goes the restoration of the Jeeps?
Oh, I haven't done anything but drive the damn things for the last, well, drive the one for the last, little bit. We have other stuff to get to first. We're gonna work on that white one. We're gonna pull the motor out of the white one, but that won't be probably until like the weather changes and we start getting into, but yeah, I plan to do a lot of Jeep stuff.
We're gonna have a lot of winter projects.
We have a lot of winter projects. Yeah, I got stuff lined up for the winter. We have all sorts of things. Because it's hard, when you do this the way we do it, you have to have material lined up. Like you can't just like say, you just can't wake up in the morning and say, well, where do I find some material, right? No. You gotta have this stuff like lined up for we've got to line up for years in advance.
What's up, Mike Johnson?
Mike Johnson, thank you, sir.
Sorry, been away from Sunday nights, but keeping up daily. Great videos. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate that. Let's see.
Travis Hall. What's that?
Travis Hall.
Recent subscriber have watched 50 plus of your videos already. Just 50? Did you just subscribe this afternoon, Travis?
It's fairly recent.
Travis, we have a lot of videos.
Appreciate you sharing what you know. Awesome to hear the no BS info from you.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Travis.
Well, listen, it's
Thank
great
you
for you to
for
drop by
watching.
and tell us
Thank
this,
you
right?
for watching 50 plus videos already.
Yeah, but get out of here and go back there and start watching videos. You got a lot of catching up to do, brother, man. Thank you.
Oh, funny. Is Dakota in timeout? Maybe.
Okay, I just saw a terrible vibration from the clutch.
Here, I see it.
Ah.
Rick S.
Tony!
That's you.
Yes. I have a terrible vibration from the clutch of my 69 Barracuda, idle and driving. When I press the clutch pedal, it goes away. Everything is the pilot bushing. No.
It's a microphone. See?
Yeah. When you press the clutch, so picture this, right? The disc is spinning off center, right? So here's your flywheel, and the pilot bushing is holding the input shaft of the transmission, right, steady, and that's indexing the disc. Well, you've got your foot is off the clutch. If the pilot bushing has any wear to it, the disc is going to be sandwiched off center, so it's going to be spinning like this. Okay. As soon as you hit the clutch, now it's free, and the vibration is going to go away. So yes, you have a bad pilot bushing.
Chris Greenaway.
Yes, Chris Greenaway.
UTG, we need a video on the epidemic of body shops. Now they're too lazy to patch a barely rusted quarter. Got told I'd have to replace all the metal before they touch it. Found a local guy for $8,000.
Too lazy to patch a barely. They don't like to patch. There's a lot of work in patching.
Like Rob Bennett would have to do that video. Not Rob Bennett, Jim Bennett.
Jim Bennett, yeah.
He would have to do that video.
Yeah. Talk to Jim Bennett. I bet he'll tell you to go to a body shop.
Okay. Go to a body shop. Ari says bottle rocket sounded healthy, all capital letters.
Yo, she always sounds healthy.
Until she's not healthy.
right before something happens. I mean,
like really the first thing that you did there. Like it's so frustrating. And when it took us forever to get there too. Because 840 was closed. What are you smoking?
They didn't have bugler.
What is that?
I got Paul Bowles. They didn't have
They
bugler.
smell like chemicals.
I know. I only have a couple of little buglers so I can roll my emergency cigarettes.
Oh. Why don't you just quit like me?
But honestly, since we built the engine, when we first put that engine together in Bottle Rocket, it ate a cam, right? And on the initial break-in of the engine. So, but since that point, we've never had the slightest lick of trouble from the motor. I mean, it's just happy. It sings. It makes more power than the car that the driveline parts want to deal with. So this is the very first issue that we've ever had with the actual motor itself.
Renda Black says, I was so sad for Bottle Rocket last night. Was he there? Were you there?
Why, Randall?
Were you watching it?
Randall,
well, it was sad, though.
No, it wasn't sad. She drove up on the trailer. I wasn't frustrated. I was maybe frustrated for a minute.
You were a little frustrated.
I was a little frustrated for a minute.
Because you didn't know what was going on.
Because I didn't know what was going on, exactly, right? So I was like, I don't know what happened here. And I tell you what I thought was, I had this roller cam, so it was a bronze gear. on the, for the distributor drive. And I thought for sure that it must have eaten the bronze gear and skipped a tooth on the distributor or something along those lines. So that was my thought, right? I was so relieved this morning. I popped the valve cover off, and it's like I'm cranking the motor, and I see the push rod just popping up and down on the rocker. I was like, "Yay!"
Yay! That's a good thing,
Yeah.
right?
So no, it wasn't. Listen, if you can't deal with those little setbacks, you'll never do anything with your life. You know what I mean? So you just take it in stride, and you just roll with it, man. And, no big deal. I drove it up on the trailer. Anytime you can drive the car up on the trailer, it's a massive win.
Unfinished projects. I've seen the push rods through the rockers in a couple of farms, and then it's more of a thing than you would think.
No, I know all about it. I mean, I've done it myself. I've had it happen over the years, over the decades that I'm doing this. I've had it happen a number of times. So I wasn't surprised. What surprised me, I tell you, here's the thing. Usually, I'm when it comes to diagnosing things, I'm like, bam, right? Like the instant something happens, my brain just goes off, and I'm just like, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And I'm going through the process of elimination. But that one had me stumped, and not stumped, but it was like, gee, what the hell is that? Right? It was unusual, especially since like I'm doing a burnout, right? And the motor sounds great, the pitch is perfect, and all of a sudden it goes, where did that come from? What the hell is that? So, but the thing is, because it was the exhaust valve of the number 7 cylinder, 5 and 7 have a unique relationship in the firing order, but just because the two throws fire just within a couple of degrees of each other. So when there's a problem in 5 and 7, you don't get the same feel as if you've got it in any of the other cylinders in the engine. So it never gave me that it's down a cylinder feeling. It just gave me a feeling of overall weakness and laboring, which was unusual. That I've never had happen. But
Patrick wants to know if you've ever done anything with an AMC before?
Driven them? Yeah, no, I mean, back when I was a mechanic in the 70s, I used to work on a lot of AMC stuff, but I never hotwired any AMC stuff.
Did you do this one already?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Jonathan? Thank you, Jonathan.
Okay.
Important question.
Okay. Don't mess with the SSR and floor. Bowls open up to 85% and valve guide bulge. Would it hurt to open direct above left or right SSR? Okay. As far as opening the bowls to 85%, here's what you do, right? That's an excellent question to ask David Vizard. He is a much more scientific head porter than I am. I port like a caveman. I port the way I taught myself to port heads back when I was a teenager, and I've never used a floor bench, which I'm not bragging. I'm saying I've just never used a floor bench. I am a backyard head porter. John, you need to ask that question to David Vizard. He does lives fairly often. I would get on there and he will give you exactly. He'll say you could because again, you see, you're asking a porting question, but it's a generic porting question, meaning that I know what cylinder head it is, and I don't know if you're talking about intake or the exhaust valve. They're all different, so you need to be very specific, because what works on, let's say, an Oldsmobile head isn't going to work on a 426 Hemi head, just for the sake of example. So you want to ask that question of David Vizard.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Will.
you, Mr. Will.
Appreciate that. You can get a rocker with that.
Is there a significance to the orange cube?
No, why? Why would there be?
If there is, Mr. Will would know. Is there a significance to the orange cube? I don't know. What
Mine
should I
is
answer to
orange.
that?
See mine?
Yeah, but it's not a cube.
It would be if I posted.
Is it?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Well, let's see. I don't know. Now I'm all messed up because I'm thinking about orange cubes.
Oh, it's Austin.
Mr. Will's comment. Here it is. It was separate. Thank you. Hi, Tony. Saw your vid on the RV 440 and 413 industrial motor. Can you do a video on police 440 engines? My 76 Coronet has numbers matching 440,
nice.
and all I know that it's a 76 T440 on the block pad. Can you do one?
That's nice. Mr. Will, honestly, right? All it is, it's the same 440 that you would have gotten in a Chrysler New Yorker. there weren't any special, really special editions of 440 at that point. What would be different is like the calibration. And that's something I want to do a video about, because, okay, back in the day, back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, right? Back in the day, every design team, every engine, every engine team had the calibration guy. And the calibration guy is the one who picked all of the jetting and the timing, the initial timing, total timing, the timing curve, right? All of the calibration guy could make or break any given package. So while that 440 police engine is literally the same as you would get in a New Yorker from that year, or a motorhome from that year for that matter, the calibration, the specific parts, the carburetor, the distributor, stuff like that, that may be very specific to the police package. Okay, let's see. Scott Digman, is there an update on the 67 Hemi GTX? Did the owner buy the GTX in New York? I don't know where he bought it from. Okay, his name is Andy. Andy is actually going to be here he's going to be the weekend of the 6th with his Oldsmobile. Oh, Andy's big into Oldsmobiles. So he's bringing his 442 to Murfreesboro, because we're having, there's this national meeting of an Oldsmobile club that's happening here in my city on the 6th, and Andy will be here for that. The update on the GTX is just that the engine, the block, is now over at Ray Martin's up in Pennsylvania. I dropped it off at Carlisle, and then somebody ran it to Ray's. So the block is being machined, line board, honed, deck plated right now. And we should have everything back to put it back together again sometime in October-ish.
October? Ralph's still in town.
It's Ralph! It's my brother Ralph, who was the first to make me aware that everything in the universe is either a duck or not a duck. And he's absolutely right. And yeah, the first speeding ticket was written in 1902. Do you remember, Ralph, this? So my garage in New York, okay? Ralph and I we went there, right? You know what I'm saying? So my garage in New York, he gets a speeding ticket. It was 160 something miles an hour in a 40 mile an hour zone, right? On his, what did he have? He had a GSXR, right? A 600. So he gets a speeding ticket for 140 or 150 miles an hour in a 40, okay? So he gets out of jail, and he comes out of my house, and he says, look up his speeding ticket. So I took a speeding ticket, and I took a tack, and I hung it up on my shop wall at the garage. I worked at a house. So I hung it up on my shop wall. So at the time, I was healing from one of my own motorcycle crashes, and I had lost all the skin from the middle of my torso to my ass, okay? And then all of the skin on was it this arm? I don't know, this arm, right? It was gone, all gone, right? So I have his ticket, his 160 whatever it is mile an hour ticket up on and then one day this giant hunk of scab that big finally came off, right? And I hung that up next to his speeding ticket.
Of course.
Do you remember that, Ralph?
I remember it.
Or did I just imagine that?
No, you did.
You don't
I
even
remember.
know.
It was gross. Yeah, kitty cat's making a lot of noise. He's crazy. Let's see. We ever do? JK wants to know. We ever do a 1920s era roadster video?
No.
If there was one around, right?
Yeah, I have no 1920s roadsters in my universe. If I did, yes, I would absolutely do a video on.
What's up, Olive? Olive says, my kitty cat here was hearing Uncle Feline meowing in the distance a bit ago. It was like, Yeah, he won't show you.
His name is actually DeSoto.
He's locked in the house. DeSoto's locked up. Let's see. Aries, oops. Where's the tank?
It's been iced tea lately. I don't know. Like, where's my tank?
Oh, you asked me for tea.
Oh, so it's my fault actually.
Yeah,
Shit.
I gave you what you asked me for.
Stop asking me questions.
No questions, please. Did Ralph answer? Yeah, he did. There he is. That was real.
Yeah, it was real.
I remember it. Project Time Garage. It's Brian.
What's going on, Brian?
Project
Project Time Garage.
Bottle Rocket. Brian wants to try Bottle Rocket.
I mean, it's a distinct possibility.
Brian, has everybody checked out Project Time Garage?
Yes. Brian at Project Time Garage, his shop is only about a mile from my shop, right? It's like right around a block, right? That we have blocks there, but it's in the, it's in the zone, right? It's right in my zone. So he's actually going to be doing some work over at our shop with his channel. So because I have more stuff than I can handle myself. And I have things that I can easily pass on to somebody else because I got it like that, right? So he's going to be doing a lot of that stuff for his channel over at my place. So you guys might want to
go sub to him.
Yeah, go sub to Project Time Garage.
Go over there right now. We're gonna have fun. We got a lot to do. We have a lot of stuff to do. You still smoking those?
Oh, I'm not smoking. Stop that.
Ugh, they stink. But it's okay. I understand.
Oh, Zero's here.
Where?
Right there. I just saw him a second ago.
Where? You see Zero? Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's watching Godzilla
movies.
Which one, man? Which Godzilla movie?
They're all good.
You never liked Godzilla movies.
Yeah, I did.
When?
The one with the twins? That was Mothra.
That's Mothra.
I always liked Mothra best. Austin.
Mothra was like the gayest.
Oh, shush. No, it wasn't. It was Big Moth. It's Austin. I just want to point out that the background noise in today's video is totally not me playing with the power washer and Garrett clogging up my shop vac. That was totally you.
Those guys were working. They were working on their car while we were shooting the video this morning in the shop at Bottle Rocket.
Jason, saw an old 10 glass picture the other day, but wasn't going to send UTG more stuff.
Yeah, don't send any more stuff.
Don't send any more stuff,
Yeah,
guys.
I know a lot of you guys want to send stuff, and I so
We
appreciate that. You have
appreciate it,
no
but we don't
idea
want
how
you
much
guys
I
to do
appreciate
that.
the love that represents. Don't send it. Please don't send us any stuff.
Mothra 1. Yeah, that's right, Rocky Myers.
More for wine, not one. Wine.
One.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. But Mothra did win. One.
Godzilla!
It's like I kicked off YouTube. Forget me. Let's see.
The first one with Raymond Burr was like probably the best. The black and white one from the 50s.
Let's see. Mike. Putting a Torque Storm supercharger on my 340. Recommendations on below through carbs.
You don't really have a recommendation. I mean, I did a Torque Storm Slant 6 before we did this channel. I made my own blow through. I can't really, I don't know. I mean, I think a Google search is going to give you better information than I can.
Robin Tall Steak. Have to say I love your Miata build.
Isn't it cool? I love it too.
What's up, Mopar Den? Thank you.
That's funny. No, well, it's not lovely fog. It's the fires. They're having fires on the West Coast, and that's what that is.
Tony's not smoking. Some London fog floating by. Here's some cash for Bottle Rocket, in which I continue to hold a soft spot for and root for its track success. Thank you, Mopar Den.
Thank you.
I'm rooting for its track success as well.
It'll have track success.
I know it will. I know it will.
You know, not for nothing, okay, but just the very fact that the car exists. Remember, we scooped it up from the scrapyard, intercepted it from the scrapyard, right?
Yeah.
The very fact that the car exists runs, drives, functions, right? It can make sounds and motion,
Mhm.
right? Is its own wing all by itself. It's like the very fact that the car exists, every step that it takes is an additional wing. It just hasn't produced the end result that everybody
Oh, I know.
wants. You know what I mean?
It will.
It will.
I know that. Thanks to people like Rupert Dent,
Thanks
who
to-
keep
yes.
supporting us. Finn says the first Godzilla was the best. It was so bad that it was good.
The first Godzilla, you know,
Yeah,
you do realize,
it's really good.
you do realize that Godzilla represents us, right? That the whole Godzilla thing was a metaphor for us nuking Nagasaki, right?
Let's see. Mike wants to know how was the quality of the torque storm on the Slant 6?
I was impressed. It was the very first Slant 6 kit. We put the first one on. They were, yeah, the one we got was the very first kit that they boxed up and sent. So they were very interested in how the installation went, and I remember we had to send out some pictures because there were a couple of things that weren't. This is 4 years ago. This many cars ago. There were a couple of things that on the initial kit didn't quite work out, so or weren't exactly right. So they worked with us back and forth, but yeah, I was very impressed with the quality of the kit, the quality of the blower, the cooperation from those guys. They seemed like they were enthusiastic. They weren't just like peddling parts. So yeah, I wouldn't hesitate for a second to recommend any of the Torque Store products. Joe K says, Tony wants nothing to do with new Dodges, Hellcats, etc. It's not that I have anything against them. They don't do anything for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at those cars and say, oh, I need that. Oh, I want that. Right? They do less than nothing for me. And again, see, it's hard. I'm not the usual person. Okay, but honestly, I swear on everything that's good and holy. In my mind, there's no difference between, let's say, a Prius and a Hellcat. They're the same car. They're interchangeable. Neither of them really have the kind of spirit, or I can't make a connection with either of those machines. They're soulless. Does that make any sense? So you take any of the new modern cars, right? They're all completely interchangeable to me. The numbers don't mean anything to me. The styling doesn't mean anything to me. The new cars just do not have a soul. Now, one of the reasons why I flipped over the XJ, right? Because this is a hindsight thing. Obviously, I've seen and driven and everything XJs before, but that was 30 years ago. So now, in hindsight, right, I fall in love with them because they actually have a soul. You can relate to these guys. They're actually, So it's not that all modern cars are dead inside. You know what I mean? Well, I guess is it. But no, I have absolutely no connection to those cars whatsoever. Spicchio, but it runs good, but it bogs no final when you feed it the beans. I assume you're talking about the Miata. What? Hey, give me a break. I just got this thing running. I'm tuning it. I'll get rid of the bog. I know there's a bog there. I'll get rid of it. Just give me a break. We're getting there. A little bit of time. Did your 5.0 Mustang have a soul? Yes, it did. It absolutely did. I actually had a pretty good relationship with that car.
Okay, I think it's under control.
Okay.
Why are you so quiet?
Oh, Spicchio was talking about his 318. I think you're talking about the Miata, because the Miata does have a little bit of an off. Your 318, check the timing. If the accelerator pump is good, you hit the throttle, you look inside, you see 2 squirts of gasoline, but it still has a little bit of an off idle stumble. It could be timing chain stretch. Okay, you want to check that. But more than likely, the timing is a little retarded. So bump up the timing just a little bit and see what happens.
Did your 5-liter have a soul?
Yeah, I answered that already.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just came in.
Yes.
Is the marathon still on? We're not doing a marathon.
What do you want to do?
Well, marathon for what?
I thought we were going to raise money for something.
Oh, when?
Labor Day.
Oh, Labor Day marathon?
Yeah.
Okay. What are we raising money
Oh, good cause.
for? Animal shelter?
I think we're either go with the disabled vets or the
Okay.
animal shelter.
Okay. We could do disabled vets. We did animals last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good either way.
Okay. Would you say the hobby is becoming less fun due to the parts epidemic?
It's becoming more of a challenge. It's becoming more challenging. But it also opens another dimension. Okay? Because, oh, yeah, okay, there you go. All right. Yes, it's frustrating when you can't get a good replacement part. But tomorrow, or one day this week, I wanted to do it yesterday, but one day this week, I'm going on a scavenger hunt. I'm going to the pull apart.
Oh, yeah.
They have like 5 XJs in there, and I'm going on a scavenger hunt. Then I'm going to find all of the OE parts that I can, right, and stock them up so I've got the stuff on the shelf. So I mean, so it adds that dimension. Now I get to go like swap meet hunting again, which is like one of my favorite things. Back in the day, when the Mopar stuff was readily available, it was everywhere. You go to a swap meet and you could bargain and hunt, and it was fun. You know what I mean? It was like that was a big part of the experience. Now I get to experience that with the XJs. So yeah, the bad parts make it frustrating, but they also open a whole other dimension.
Dakota Anderson says, can you do more in-depth videos of curving a distributor like the Daytona Charger?
I mean, I can. I don't have a distributor machine to do a video like that, because to properly represent curving a distributor, you really should do it on a distributor machine. What I showed in that video is how I was doing it back in the 70s, and that's how it was done. That was the way. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I showed it in that video.
It's your brother. Yeah, the marathon's going to happen. Will you be here, James? We're expecting you.
Speculator says it has like 34 degrees at 3,000-ish. All right, is that with the vacuum and vans disconnected? What's your initial?
This is the same. It's a local cable and it's right. Is that who you're talking to?
I think there's somebody else in there too.
Look at this book here. And see that. He's not answering. Oh, here. Initials like 18, sorry.
Initials 18, and you have a stumble. I'm thinking, bro. I'm thinking. I would have to feel the stumble. So if you've got 18 degrees initial, and your accelerator pump is operating correctly, I don't know. I'm at a loss for that. I don't know.
Shane says, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Ford guy, but my 93 Jeep ZJ is probably the best vehicle I've ever owned. Let's see. Mr. Will says pump gas is another epidemic. Couldn't get a load ping in my 89 LX 5-liter. Had put VP injected racing fuel to cure it. Why is gas so horrible? Having yourself good from bad. Sunoco is only hope, UT.
You know, Sunoco Shell was what we used to, when I was racing the 5 liters, way back when, Shell was the gas. Cars ran best, couldn't tell you why, right? But however Shell formulated their fuel, it just melded perfectly with the E4. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you today. I don't really find a difference in the quality of gas. All my daily driven cars, and I have a lot of daily driven, daily driver cars, they're all tuned to run on 87 pump E10, and I don't have any problems. And I don't really notice a difference in fuel quality.
31801 says, I'm still cheering for Bottle Rocket.
Everybody is. People love that car. I love that car. The car's got a lot of goodwill behind it.
A lot of people are. Let's see. Have you heard anything back from the Roadkill guys?
No, one of them. I talked to one of them on the phone that night and haven't heard anything back since. That's over. That's done with.
What gas treatment do you use to store vehicles?
I don't. If a car's going to sit for any amount of time, I'll either siphon the gas out of it or leave the gas cap off so that whatever's in there is free to evaporate out.
Eureka. Let's see. On my 68 Newport with a 383, the sticker inside the hood says to run 7.5 degrees. I heard that this was back when they had leaded gas. Would you need more timing for modern gas, i.e. at 12 degrees?
Going to 12 degrees won't hurt it. The 7 degrees is going to be conservative. All of those timing recommendations, timing specs from those days were all a bit on the conservative side, So if you can go to like 12 and you're not hearing an audible spark knock, a ping or anything like that, I would do that.
Roy says, please don't paint the Bottle Rocket. Don't paint it.
I'm not going to. The only thing I may paint is the roof, because the roof is just white Rust-Oleum. It's a little sketchy up front, so I may paint the roof, but no, I'm not going to paint the rest of the car. I love it's perfect. I love that car. I love everything about that car.
DS Customs, thank you.
Thank you.
A new Edelbrock 600 PCV bouncing vacuum gauge won't idle smooth in gear.
Fucks with timing, smooth for a bit, but don't have a timing light. Valves 351M. Won't idle smooth in gear. It's a new Edelbrock 600, and I'm assuming that you've already you've already run the gamut of idle mixture adjustments. I'm going to say you've probably got an issue in the EGR passages of the intake manifold. Probably the EGR valve itself is sticking open, or the gasket is blown between the two ports. That's usually the thing that happens with us.
Dakota, what gear is in the white Roadrunner? I don't know if you said in the video, does it get about the same gas mileage as the orange Dart?
323. And no, it gets really good gas mileage.
Better gas mileage than the Dart?
Yeah. Well, the Dart, she uses the Dart for a lot of like really short trips. Like she'll run to the supermarket up the street, which is like a mile up the road. So the car never warms up and it never comes off the choke, which was one of the problems that you had with these cars in the old days. Is why did we get all carboned up and whatnot? So, but in general, no, the white Roadrunner, I haven't actually measured it, but the car just gets, it's just, you drive it and the gas gauge doesn't move unless you're beating on the car.
Bottle Rocket actually had a little shine in the video.
Yeah, well that psycho, nut roll psycho that I had helping me out there for a little while, he actually did that, right? What happened was I told him to clean the car, okay? So he squirted all his degreaser all over the car, and it left these streaks everywhere, and I freaked out. And this was like 6 o'clock at night, right?
Before we were going to Alabama.
It was it was the day before we were going to Alabama, right? So I freaked out. I screamed at him. I went off, right? Because I had told him, don't use that stuff on the car, just hand wash it. So I left him there overnight, and overnight he detailed that whole car. He came in the next morning, and it looked beautiful. It was shining. The whole car was shining. He ran out of materials when he got to the hood. So he did, you know what I mean? He did some good, he did some bad, but the bad involved other people, and at that point, he had to go.
Can we get rid of this person?
Sure.
This troll person? Block him?
Yeah, why not?
Later. And Erica, I guess the guy said it already. I'm late. Let's see, Russell Fitch. Uni Motorsports Garage latest video has great footage of Sneaky Pete Robinson and Tinker Toy.
Oh, does it? I haven't seen it yet.
Big Bear. Do you plan on building the 170 that's in the net?
No, I did originally, but here's the thing: with the limitations of the limitations of where the engine sits, there's no way I can get a header in there. There's no way I can get an intake manifold of any significance into that space, unless I amputate my leg, because everything is right up against, when I'm sitting in the car and I'm driving the car, my leg is literally up against the starter, right? There's that piece of wood, that's why I use wood there, right? Because my leg is literally resting on the starter with that piece of plywood in between. There's no place to put headers or any type of efficient exhaust system in the car. And there's no place to put any type of intake manifold more substantial than one that's on there. So to work that engine, to do the head work and cam and everything else, and then have it exhaust through a stock exhaust manifold with a little 2 1/4 inch opening there, it's just counterproductive. It won't pay. So I'm going to do a full house 170, but it's going to go into a different car.
Zero says we win.
We always win. Zero.
We had some trolls. Spammers. Spammers.
Yeah, we got them.
Got them. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
You guys are the best. Somebody had a question, and I'm trying to find it now. Okay, Jay. Jay Turn, how do I find out what order to put my spark plugs in order 1984 Fifth Avenue?
Jay, I have no idea what you mean by that. I tell you that the firing order is 184366572, right? The driver side is 1357, passenger side is 2468. That's why, I mean, I don't know how else to answer that question.
Get the manual. Right.
Well, I mean, maybe he can elaborate more on what he means by that.
Let's see. Jody, when it comes to drag racing, what are the pros and cons of long wheelbase and short wheelbase?
Depends on the car, the type of racing that you're doing. Lower horsepower cars, short wheelbase is always an advantage because they transfer weight easier. Higher the power level, the longer and the lower you want the car, because the weight transfer at the G-force, let's say, of a 6-second car is a lot different than the weight transfer of the G-force of, let's say, a 12-second car. So apples and oranges. But like, for instance, when it comes to like stock and super stock cars, Plymouth's always had advantages over Dodges because the Plymouth has a 2-inch shorter wheelbase, 3-inch shorter wheelbase. It depends. B body's 2 inches, A body's 3 inches. So the advantage always goes to the shorter Plymouth. But when you get to the faster cars, then wheelbase, but longer wheelbase, the better off you are.
BS Customs.
Okay. Oh, so this is back to the misfire question. Rough idle. Desmugged Edelbach Performer 400 intake. Chuck a Sterling redneck trying to unredneck it and make it not such a pile in a usable truck 79 F250. And I bet you're hating life climbing over that fender every time you got to make an adjustment to that damn thing, right? I know. Okay, so you got a rough idle, and the vacuum gauge is popping around. I'm going to say at that point, have you done a compression test on the thing? The good chance you got an intake valve, an intake guide that's just so sloppy that the valve is flopping around, and that'll give you a rough idle.
Hey, Middle, thank you. What happened to the math channel?
What happened to the math channel?
I think he's reworking it.
He's reworking it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he got a contract from the BBC.
BBC?
Yeah, the
I think
BBC
so.
has decided to.
He's reworking it, I think. Let's see. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly, Rosneck.
And then you use Rocco for Bottle Rocket.
Thank you. BS Custom says, I have a familiar bruise on my stomach from the hood latch that I haven't experienced since high school.
Yeah, man, I know. That's the thing with trucks, man. That's always been my big avoidance with trucks. It's like I don't want to climb over and say, yeah, I know.
Vinny, can you run mechanical fuel injection on the street? I've never run it before, but I heard the barrel valve is basically an on-off switch and doesn't work part throttle correctly.
Depends on, okay, a racing barrel valve, alcohol or nitro barrel valve is really just that, it's an on-off switch. But they do make different profile barrel valves, so the valves to fit inside the, okay? The biggest problem is not so much in the barrel valve, but getting the bypasses to work correctly. Because, okay, so on a carburetor, you have a transition circuit. You have your idle circuit, and you have your full throttle circuit, where it's pumping through the boosters. Well, on a fuel injection system, you don't have a transition circuit, the one for just light part throttle. So people end up running all sorts of bypasses, crazy bypass systems with different springs and jets. Like it's hard to, like I can't even explain to you some of the setups that I've seen. People attempting to make a mechanical fuel injection. So it's that off idle. It's the light part throttle cruise. And what happens is most people end up having too fat of a light part throttle cruise. And that's why the need for all of these bypasses and regulators and everything else. Yes, it can be done. I've seen it done, but it takes a lot of work to make it.
Mexican Spec says, bye all. I have to go pick up my non-car loving kid.
Oh, I got that too, man.
You have him too.
Oh, yeah, please.
It's okay. He'll be all right. Squirt McGirt. Did I say that right? A while ago, I asked you and Dallas about an old 350 with low vacuum. Turns out the heat isolator under the carb had a massive leak. Common problem?
If you're talking about one of those aftermarket anti-heat soak plates, yeah, I had that happen on my GT. I had one of those. Somebody had given me a bunch of random stuff, and one of them was one of those plates, the thermal plates that bolt underneath the carburetor. And yeah, I had exactly that. The material in between, it's like a sandwich, okay, and the material in between sucked out into the carburetor and gave me a vacuum leak there. Drove me out of my mind because you couldn't see it. Right? It wasn't anything that was easy to find, and it would come and go. It wasn't consistent, because it was so. Yeah, I've actually had that happen.
Joe K says, I enjoy watching the sunset in Tony's window back there. So beautiful. It is very nice. Tennessee has some beautiful sunsets. Donna Wendy English. Would a Continental kit help simulate being an all-to-wheelbase car?
You like the one on yours? Joel Jenkins there. What do I think made the rocker arm fail? Okay, and how am I going to correct it? The rocker arm, okay, that's a fairly common problem with that style of rocker arms, meaning a push rod cup and ball setup. It happens on Chevys, very common on Chevy motors, big and small block. And I've had it happen before on Mopars. And it's just that you're asking a factory part to do something it's really not intended to do. So the ramps, okay, The valve springs, there's stock 340 valve springs on that engine, by the way. But the decent spring pressure and a quick ramp like you have on a roller cam will fatigue them until they let go. Now, it doesn't happen to all of them, and like I said, those rockers have been on that engine since the very beginning, and they've been beaten and they've been abused and everything else, and one finally gave up. So there's really there's not a mistake to correct. The best thing would be to buy a set of aftermarket rockers, and I put a set of steel roller rockers on there, or aluminum roller rockers. But that's getting away from the goal of the car, which is to go as fast as we can, do as much as we can with the stock parts that were in there. So it failed because it's just a stock part that got pushed past its limits. And correcting it, aside from replacing it, there's no way to correct it. So what I'm going to do is just I'll go through all the rockers. I was going to do it today, but I needed to get away from it for a bit. Just go through all the rockers, see if there are any others that show any signs of fatigue or stressing or anything like that. Replace them with fresh ones, and when we go to the track, take a handful of spare rockers, knowing that there's a good possibility that they go bad.
Anything else we should bring? Any other parts we should bring? Suzanne West.
Hey, Suzanne.
Your thought: 66 Dart, 360 LA 4-barrel, 904 with a shift kit, and 8.8 Ford Posi with 373 gears.
It sounds like a nice combination. The 37 without an overdrive, the 373 might be. I mean, what are you going to use the car for? If it's going to see a lot of highway use, over 70, 80 miles an hour, that 373 without an overdrive is going to get a little on the buzzy side, right? 323 is like the happy zone for that particular type of car. But it sounds good to me.
Sierra says, sunsets, please. You only got enough smog to make a pretty one. Yeah, actually we do.
We do.
We do. We're in the valley.
We have, we have terrible air quality, so we have gorgeous sunsets.
Yeah, right now we have the smoke from California blowing our way, right? Let's see. Andrew Button. Hello, how's it going? It's going good.
Oh, pretty good.
Scott Digger, what are your feelings about electric cars?
I feel a tad standoffish, a bit apprehensive.
Yeah. Those are making you cough.
Yeah, I know.
Those cigarettes are making you
There
cough.
isn't enough nicotine in the damn things. It's filtered.
Put it out.
No, I need it.
It's making me cough.
I need it.
You don't need it.
I need it.
This is going to be like an after-school special.
She's become a militant non-smoker, so now I was like, you smell like an ashtray.
I don't
You're
say
disgusting.
that. I do not say that. You know I don't. I'm trying to find some of these comments.
Back to the electric car question.
Where?
In and of themselves, right? Like an electric car. I like them. I have no qualms with electric cars whatsoever. And I've always been fascinated by all of the electric car efforts that have come and gone over the years. People trying to experiment with things and so on and so forth. I have zero issue with electric cars. None at all. I have an issue with them being forced. And I have an issue with a technology that isn't ready to be used. It isn't ready to be mass produced. That I have a problem with. In my opinion, the time for electric cars to take over will come eventually, but I tell you honestly, we're probably 50 to 100 years away from that. Before that can happen, we have to rethink and restructure our entire concept of what energy is and how it's used. That's my problem. So no, electric cars, I have zero problem with electric cars. They're machines like anything else, and I love all machines. I have a problem with the way they're being forced ahead of their time.
You're correct, Ari. Kathy Hughes has censored anti-smoking commentary. No, I don't mind that you smoke. I mean, I don't care. But those are making you cough. Let's see. Is the smoke coming from Oregon? I think you're right. Yes, you're right, not California. All right. I don't really have time to watch the news. I know smoke is coming from the west. That's all I know. Let's see. Muscle City Madness, thank you. My exhaust manifolds on my Roadrunner have this flapper door/choke where they meet the exhaust.
Right.
It rattles around and is noisy like crazy. What's it for?
It's a heat riser. It's okay, so underneath the intake manifold is a crossover that sends exhaust gas under the carburetor, right? To warm it up, to have the choke to operate. Well, when it's cold, there's a flapper in the passenger side exhaust manifold that's thermal spring loaded closed when it's cold. So this way the exhaust is forced to go through that passage. As it warms up, that flapper opens and now the exhaust isn't forced through the bottom of the carburetor. It's able to, okay. So what happens is they go one of two ways. They'll either seize and they won't work anymore, or they'll just lock in position, or they'll do what you do and they just flap and so the easiest fix, take them out. Just take them out. The hole that goes through, threaten, you can either weld it closed if you weld. If you don't weld, tap it for a bolt on that thing. A 5/16 bolt will fill that hole. Tap it, run a bolt in there, lock it down, and call it a day.
Gabriel wants to know, when I did the 440 for the Charger, did you help with the assembly? Did I chase you away so that I can put together your stuff? No, I won't chase him away. He knows what he's doing.
I guided her
I
through
need
it.
his help and guidance, obviously.
I guided her through
He
it.
helps me
It was-
flip the pistons.
Yeah, I helped her flip the pistons, Because she was trying to put them upside down.
Right,
No,
right,
put
yeah,
them backwards.
Backwards.
No, she assembled the engine with her own hands.
Yeah.
She put the crank in.
My
she put the
favorite part,
bearings in.
I back-faced all the valves.
She
I did all
backfaced all the
that.
valves. She physically handled each of the parts that went into
I
that
did.
engine and assembled it, but I guided her through
Yeah.
it. She had never done it before.
Right. Well, I was doing the one for the Roadrunner, but you took over
Yeah.
that one. So this one I did all by myself. Well, with your guidance. But no, I would never chase him away. Why? He's like a brainiac. I need him. Jason, it's funny, Jason. Did I pick a new backsplash tile for my kitchen? No, I haven't. We bought 2 Jeeps, Jason.
We bought 2 Jeeps, so we're setting up a screen printing.
Right, and I'm setting up a screen printing shop.
So we can make all of our own merch in-house.
Which I'm really excited about, because now I get to design a whole bunch of stuff more than I would before.
Yeah, and we won't be able
And
to
that was
blame
my
anybody
former
anymore.
life, designing stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Where's DeSoto been hiding? DeSoto is locked in the house because he's healing.
Oh man,
This
this
cat is
cat.
crazy.
Yeah, how this cat isn't dead, I don't know, right? I tell you the truth, I never liked him, okay?
That's why he's
He's a nice
screaming a lot.
cat. He's a nice cat, but I don't really like cats, and
He's
I
a
don't
very
like
sweet
male
cat.
animals in my house. But I've learned to respect this freaking thing, okay? Because he's the war machine, right? He goes out constantly, all right? He
You can't keep him in
wars
the house.
constantly. You can't keep him in the
He
house.
breaks out.
He goes out and he just wars. He's always in a state of war. Unless he's in the house, and he's like, nice cat.
Very sweet.
Very sweet, nicest thing in the world, right? But when he goes out into the world, he's like, war, give me more war, right? And so you got to respect this, about this animal. So he goes out, he fights anything. I don't know what the hell he fights. All I know is when he comes back, there's giant chunks missing out of him. I mean, like, they're just not there. And he's like, 0 fucks given. He's just like, let me chill for a couple of days. It'll grow back, and then I go for more war, right? So I've come to respect this thing. So this latest is his
His
head
face was missing.
is all scar tissue.
Half of his face was
He wants to battle with a flamethrower, okay?
Right.
He's he's a wreck, but he keeps going up for more and more and
So
more.
now we've got him in the healing cycle. We locked him in. He can't get out.
So the last time around, He comes back and he's missing his
Yeah,
neck.
face.
Okay, half his face and his neck is gone. Like it's just like if you look where, okay, there should be a cheek, there should be like a neck. There's nothing there. Okay, so like you know what? Okay, how this thing is still alive, I don't know. So I says it's it. He's like 10 years old, 12 years old, like that.
No,
I says it's time to take him out of service.
It's like
You know what I
7.
mean? So we got an appointment to get his balls snipped,
Yep.
and now he's going to be, you know, because I honestly, there's just no way he can't go any further. So he earned a place here in the house for good.
Yeah. He's not allowed outside anymore.
Right. I just don't want him to sit on me because he's got a cat pee-pee, and I don't want that.
Because he's a
on me.
male.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want that on me.
Tony. He'll be good though, but that's why he's like screaming a lot because he wants to go out. So he'll be able to buy Ultra Kathy's Garage t-shirts soon.
Oh, she's slowly going to push me out of the picture. You
No,
know
I'm
that,
not.
right? You see it coming. You see it coming.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Not at all. Me? No. Let's see. Maybe he ran the skunks off. I don't know, Dirty Knob.
It's possible. It's
I
possible.
don't know. Kevin. Hi guys, have you heard anything about Edelbrock being sold and moving to Tennessee?
Yeah, the Edelbrock and Comp merged, I don't know, like last year. And the Edelbrock's not moving to Tennessee. They're setting up in, where is it? I was there. I was actually there several months ago. It's
They're setting up in
in...
Memphis, huh?
No. They're setting up in...
Yeah.
Is it Alabama? It's not Alabama. It's it'll Mississippi. They're setting up in Mississippi.
Are they? But aren't they in Memphis? Isn't Comp in Memphis?
Their headquarters is in Memphis, but the Edelbrock foundries and all of that are going to be
Okay.
right.
Lord Burns. What's up with all the Tesla hate? My neighbors just got keyed. Did they?
Yeah, I don't get that either. I mean, a Tesla is a car like anything else.
I don't know. Jason Fitch. My outdoor cat lost an eye and wound up looking like a James Bond villain. I'm sorry. Aw.
And he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's got another one. Let's go, right?
Yeah, they're crazy. That's why he's getting snipped. Michael, sounds like the soda is like an old Mopar. It's still going. He's about 7 or 8.
He earned my respect. He absolutely earned my respect.
The Skunks Commando. I haven't seen the Skunks. I think maybe they moved out. Ultra Cat's Kitchen. I don't have time to do a kitchen thing. There's just no way. There's no way. So busy. Sounds is off. Tony, test drive a Tesla. It will ruin you for life. I want to hate it, but I couldn't.
Have you ever heard me say anything negative about a Tesla? I don't hate them. I don't dislike them at all. They're not my cup of tea. But I've never said a negative word about Teslas. I know what they're capable of. I respect that. Just not for me.
Johnny K. Edelbrock headquarters to Olive Branch.
Yeah.
Okay, it's near Memphis. Name my cat Smokey, like Jackie Gleason. Because I got the cat fat at age 4 months old at 40 pounds now. He's aged 1 year and 2 months. 27 pounds. Let's see. What's going on with the Shroud? No Shroud?
No Shroud.
Doug Norton, down with the Shroud, man. Don't follow the masses, man. Be your own person. No Shroud. Talking about fan shrouds?
Yeah.
Did I miss some conversation?
The XJs both have fan shrouds. That bothers me a little bit.
I'll just leave it.
Well, the XJ has a super compromised cooling system. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. The radiator is only like this tall. It's wide, so it needs those shrouds.
Kenny Mindy says, hello, thanks for having this forum. Parked my 68 Caddy at a show, shut off, and a half an hour later the coil overheated and melted several wires back to the firewall. Possible causes that this happened.
It sounds like you didn't shut the ignition off. The coil cannot overheat without juice going to it. So I would say, if you physically shut it off, right, and it did that anyway, I would be suspect of something energizing the ignition circuit, two wires touching together someplace, or possibly a short inside the key switch. But yeah, the only way that coil could overheat and melt any wires or do anything like that is if it had juice going through a wall with parked.
Zero says, Tony, you are.
I am the shroud.
Ari says, my offer to cater all UTG events is still on the table.
Dude, you live like 7,000 miles away.
Uh-huh. Austin says, will Tesla swap the Valiant? All right.
For years, long before electric cars, they started talking about electric cars, I thought about my own, and long before they talked about hybrids, I thought about building my own version of a hybrid. And what I wanted to do was take an electric motor, mount it to the front of a rear diff. Okay, you have to use like a Ford 9-inch for this. It has like a flange plate on the front, and use a bunch of capacitors in the trunk. So you get a couple like elevator capacitors, right? And you charge them up and you wire them to this electric motor attached to the rear end. So when it's go time, you trip the capacitors and you just blast this thing, and it'll get you to the 60, and then the motor can take over from there. So I mean, like I am not allergic to electric cars or engines, motors, at all.
I killed a man in prison over a fan show.
That's the best reason to kill a man, honestly.
Is that a song?
Could be.
Let's see. Shroud swap a Tesla and I'll raise you an AGR. What? Let's see.
What did the guy say about, just go back up, what did he say about Teslas?
Where?
Go up a little bit.
More?
So,
Here? This one?
yeah. I didn't think you hated Teslas, just wanted to encourage you to drive one. It's insane acceleration, it screws at your mind. I've put my foot in fuel voltage. I know what insane acceleration is. I can respect that, I get it. I'm more fascinated by a naturally aspirated 6-cylinder running like in the 12s, really. Can you read that one? Hamp wings. Any ideas on keeping a camp with a 104-degree LSM street friendly? No. It runs stinky rich and idle. Wires in the idle feed restriction, 750. Have help though. Oh man, no. You're not going to make that streetable. Why would you even try? Your streetable zone ends like at 108, 107, 108. Have you advanced it? Yeah, I mean, stick it up like 4 degrees and see if that makes a difference. But I would say no. It's not going to be happy. Harry
says, "That's why I offered. I know you can't take me up on it."
You are brilliant, my brother. You're absolutely brilliant. This is what. Okay, we need to spot him in management.
Okay.
As UTG,
management.
Yes, as UTG grows, okay, and I become more and more despondent and weird. We need people to step in and actually, and that's the kind of advanced thought that our enterprise needs.
Yeah, definitely. Beer Gut Boomer, how about some barn find episodes?
I would love to do. If somebody turns me onto some barn finds, like some general stashes in a reasonable area, yeah, I'd love to do that.
A couple, right?
Yeah, we've done a couple.
Yeah, if something comes up. Ian wants to know, what's it like driving an XJ Jeep with EFI? Nice change of pace?
EFI is not new to me. You got to remember, I've been a mechanic since I'm a teenager, right? So, I mean, it's not like I'm a stranger to this stuff. And I raced EFI cars back in the 80s. So yeah, no, but it's definitely different. If it's nicer, no, I don't know if it's nicer. It's about the same.
Dallas is on.
It's Dallas. It is
The
Dallas.
American Hot Rod Association Drag Racing History Channel. Go sub to that, everybody.
Chevrolet developed a hybrid. Yeah, and Dallas, right? Yeah, go sub to the AHRA Drag Racing History Channel. And Dallas, every Wednesday night, we do a live tech show, a live tech talk from his place at 7 o'clock. So, you know, a lot of the tech questions that come up here, like we try to, okay, so we try to keep the Sunday night show more general, like talking about, you know, whatever it is, you know, but not necessarily technical questions. We try to keep the tech questions for Wednesday nights. So that's what Dallas and I do. And then,
He says, let's LP power and XJ.
yeah, I'm not into the whole liquid propane thing.
Liquid propane?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Dave Larson says, Tony, it would be awesome to do some vice grip garage type stuff, like find an old 440 motor home and patch it up to drive it home would be hilarious.
We've thought about stuff like that. We've thought about, but here's the thing, okay? Derek has the personality for that. He, like, see, we're
He's like a normal person.
He's like a normal person. He's like a normal person, and he has the personality for that. Like, he wants to, like, he'll work and he wants to talk about what he's doing while he's working, and like, he jokes around and he does all that, and he has a fantastic rapport with his viewers, okay? And I'm the exact opposite. Like, if I go to find an old 440 motorhome and get a running or whatever, and Kathy's, I try to film it, like, go away, get away from me, go away. What are you doing with that freaking camera? I get mad, you know what I mean?
Talk and work on things.
I can't talk and work on things at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if I'm in wrench turning mode, okay?
That's all it is, and that's all you're gonna see is in turn wrenches.
Exactly. I'm not
Not
gonna
gonna be anything else.
Yeah, because I hyper focus. I zone in on what I'm doing, and like, if she's filming while I'm working, I actually get angry. I mean, like, angry that, like,
I have to sneakily do it.
she has to do it on the screen.
Well, I come off like a ninja. I'm super quiet, so sometimes he doesn't know that I'm there, and I'll get stuff.
I feel
Like
that,
welding. I've got some welding and stuff like that.
yeah, I feel that if I'm working, if I'm turning wrenches, it's like, this is a very personal
It's
thing to me.
sacred.
It's like,
It's a sacred
this is a
space
sacred
for you.
space for me, you know what I mean? And it's like, just leave me alone and let me do what, you know, I was born to do. That's what I was born to do. So, and you know, does that make any sense?
Well, but he wanted to know about vice grip type stuff.
But that's why we don't do vice grip type stuff. Derek has the personality for that. He loves talking and engaging his audience and working and playing around and stuff like that. And when I'm working, I have no sense of humor. I have no sense of
He has zero sense
I have
of
no sense of
humor.
humor, okay? And I tell this to people, like, people are always like, they're like, oh, I'd love to come by the shop and hang out with you, right? And I'm like, no, you don't, okay? Because, and like, okay, I should go blind right now if I'm stretching this, right? I could go an entire 12-hour day, right, in the shop without uttering a single sound, right? I don't want to talk. Like, I don't even want to say hello. It's just like, just leave me alone and let me focus on what I do.
Yeah, Kurt Wilson says that Tony is Tony, Derek is Derek.
Yeah, we're two completely different people, but that's why I don't do that kind of, that's why I don't do that kind of stuff.
But Derek would have a hard time doing things the way you do them too.
Well, Derek does some pretty good, he's a good mechanic. He's a good mechanic, but we just have different personalities.
Different personality wise.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Personality wise. Let's see. Well, the 74-year needs to take some pain patches and hit the hay. Go relax,
You
Rand.
know, I mean, pain patches. I probably need that. I got really bad arthritis in my wrist. I broke my wrist on a motorcycle, and late, like the last couple of days, it's really been bothering me.
Okay, let's see. Hang on, I'm trying to find a question. Oh, what's your favorite Mopar? Do you have a favorite Mopar? No. Hippie Miller says, do more videos on roller engines.
What do you mean?
Roller engines.
engines with roller cams, engines with roller rockers, I mean, what aspect of roller?
I don't know. Tony is in wrench beast mode, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can call it whatever you want. It's just when I'm in that zone, I don't want to be.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. How did I film the paint job? Yeah.
That was different.
It's different. He wasn't turning wrenches.
Yeah,
Different.
yeah, exactly. It was just a different zone. You know what I mean? So yeah, for some reason that doesn't bother me.
Let's see.
It's just like I don't like if she films me while I'm driving, it doesn't bother me. I can talk and drive. You know what I mean? I just can't talk and wrench.
Thank you, Fubar. Fubar put the link to our merch.
Thank you, Fubar. Yes.
Did you hear our merch, Fubar? We sent you guys the new shirts.
And Uncle Kathy's now going to be making all of the new shirts, all of the shirts in-house.
Yep.
In-house.
Yep. Let's see. I cannot understand Derek. I've tried watching his stuff, but he has to rename everything, and I find it weird. It's one of those things that drives me nuts. At first, I thought it was odd, but then, like, once I watched it a little bit, I was like, okay.
And here's the thing, right? If you're gonna watch Vice Grip Garage, you have to get into the zone.
Yeah.
You have to be in the Vice Grip zone, right? It's just like this. There's these guys from New York called Neutral Drop, right? And it's easy for me to get into their zone. Like I watch them and what they're doing and the way they talk and everything.
There, we'd be like that.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I would like that. Right? Okay, if you want to know,
We can't be like that because we live here, but really, that's what we're like.
That's no lie. If you want to know the Tony from 20 years ago, just watch Vice Grip. Not Vice Grip. Just watch Neutral Drop because I would have fit right in with those guys. It's exactly right. So
we can't get away with that here.
Yeah. Well, no, I've mellowed.
Yeah, we've mellowed.
Tennessee's mellowed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but as far as watching Vice Grip goes, you have to just kind of like unplug from the world and just get into the Vice Grip zone, and then everything he says and he does make sense.
Right. What? Oh, hang on. Watch the Marathon Engine Build vids to see UT in the zone. Yeah. Pure stress. What happened? You ever been covered in poison ivy so bad you had lobster claws for arms?
I've had burns like that, but I've never had poison ivy like that.
Lisa B says, thank you for teaching me so much.
Thank you for learning, Lisa. What's that? Is that a cup? What are you drinking in that cup there?
What?
Her picture is.
Oh, I can't see.
It's like she's holding a coffee cup.
I don't know. I can't see. Greg McDonald wants to know, do you listen to music while you wrench? If so, what type?
No, I want utter silence, utter and complete silence. If I do listen to music, it's gonna be extremely loud punk.
But you used to have the radio on the classic rock station.
Yeah, for a while I would go through phases where I just leave the radio on just to have voices or sounds going on in the background. But as I get older, it's like I either want dead silence or I want overwhelming, like a wall of sound.
Let's see. Oh no, John Wilburn has poison ivy right now.
Oh,
Sorry,
no.
John. Let's see. Danny boy, take out the papers in the trash. Poison ivy. Yeah. Yeah, it's real. It's real. What do you mean?
Well, they're in California. Like they don't
have poison ivy.
No, there's a lot of stuff they don't have out there.
Well, I saw that somebody, the person that Crystal sold the house to, Bill, he moved from California to Tennessee, and he posted, because he's on my friends list, he posted that he saw fireflies, lightning bugs, for the first time in like 50 years, because he was in California for.
Okay, so now we're in a subdivision. Just to give you an idea now, okay? So this is we're not sticks by any stretch of the imagination. We're in a subdivision, and on any given day, and you're like, okay, so I leave the house in the morning. I leave the house like at the crack of dawn, okay? And there's, you name it, and it's out there. There's rabbits, there's skunks, there's armadillos, there's snakes, there's moles.
What's that?
What's that?
There's not a lot of snakes.
There's foxes. This is in the subdivision. I'm not talking about just like riding out into the. I'm talking about just
The
here in
bunnies
the
are
subdivision.
cute. There's a lot of rabbits. Mr. Will, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Will.
Tony, if you could buy any year car new, which would it be and why? Any year car new.
Why do people ask me these
They
questions
wanna
that I have
know.
to think
What
about?
would you buy new?
What would I buy new?
Any year car.
Any year car, what would I buy new?
That's hard. I'd buy a 70 or 71 something new.
Okay, so we're talking about
Deep body.
any car, right? From any period of time, and I could just buy it new.
Yeah.
I'm thinking an E-Type.
Yeah.
Jag, yeah.
Yeah, really? That's what you buy new?
Yeah, now, I mean, picture one of those cars new, brand new, right? And you're gonna keep it brand new. You're gonna keep it in that wrapper. You know what I'm saying? And just take it on special occasions,
Yeah.
right? Can you think of a more beautiful thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's nice, but I don't know. I'm surprised that that's what you said.
Well, he asked me a question,
Yeah,
and I ran through my memory
I know.
bank.
But it might change depending on the day.
Boy, then Mr. Will, that's exactly it. See, I shoot you an answer based on like the day that I'm having today, the hour that I'm having this hour. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you ask me that question right now, yeah, it would be like it would be like an E-Type, okay? But you ask me that question in an hour, and it's going to be like something completely different.
Like when
So,
you've had more time to think about it.
yeah.
Oh, let's see. Leaves of 3. Oh, let them be.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, that's right. Leaves of 4. Pick some more. Oh, Tomo burn. Skin's peeling off my left elbow. Looks like a vinyl top.
Nice. Hang it up on the wall.
Nice. Don't touch armadillos. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because you could get this thing from armadillos. I forget what it is. Yeah, he's right. Don't touch armadillos.
See, and I've had this overwhelming desire to hug an armadillo. I don't know why.
Let's see. Don't hug armadillos.
But yeah, we have everything here, everything, including Bigfoot. Somebody just a couple of days ago.
What?
So yeah, there's a video.
What? Of what? What?
There's a Bigfoot video
Yeah.
that they shot. And during, okay, it could be wrong. I believe they're up by Sparta, close to
Tennessee.
Buffalo Valley.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and they were out doing their thing, whatever it was, and they shot a video of Bigfoot.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, has anybody seen this?
I haven't
It's a
seen it.
Bigfoot video
I would
from
think that
Tennessee.
if that's true, you would have showed it to me, but you didn't.
Well, baby, I probably saw it while you were still sleeping in the morning. I get up and I catch up on the world.
Uh-huh.
Well, I have my coffee.
Okay.
And that's probably when I saw it, and then the rest of the world takes over, and I don't.
You forgot to tell me there was a Bigfoot.
Well, I'm remembering now.
Okay. Are we gonna go look?
Has anybody seen this Bigfoot video from Tennessee?
Huh?
Sasquatch near the river in Tennessee. Yep.
Which river?
Stones River, right up the
Stones
street
River,
over here.
right at the block?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna go Bigfoot hunting?
Leprosy is beer gut boomer.
Oh, that's
says,
it, right, leprosy. That was.
Oh, I don't want leprosy.
Yeah, armadillos.
I like my freaking nose.
Yeah, leprosy.
I worked hard to keep it all these years.
We had an armadillo in the backyard.
Yeah, we have, and there's stuff everywhere. This is nature. Tennessee is nature run amok. If you
Okay.
can name it, it's here.
Doug says he saw the Bigfoot video.
Yeah, okay, so there you go.
Bigfoot lives out by Dale Holler. Wayne says that was my cousin. Let's see. Sasquatch. No, we're talking about Bigfoot. Sasquatch, I believe, drove a Cordova with a 400. Console
possible.
car with a halo vinyl top maroon. Thank you, Andrew. Armadillo suit. No, not if they have leprosy. Dirty knobs. Am I going to make the Manhattan speed shirts?
We just talked about that.
I would probably make like a limited thing where you can get them for like a week, and then that's it.
Yeah, it would be a limited run on those.
Yep, like I'll make a limited run. There'll be a week of opportunity to get them, and then done.
Oh,
What?
Scott Williams, 32 Duesenberg SJ. See, that's what I'm saying, right? If you start looking over the world of cars, the universe of cars, and you can have one new, right? Yeah, I mean, like, okay, wow, yeah, 30, yeah, that would be like, you know what I mean?
The 340 Dusters rule says, I'm a registered nurse. I've seen multiple Sasquatch when I was 15 years old, 9 foot tall male, a 7 to 8 foot female, and a small 5 foot adolescent. I still have nightmares to this day, and I'm 50.
Why do you have nightmares?
Were they scary?
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Why would you have a nightmare about that?
Maybe they were scary. Maybe they're mean. Maybe they have like red eyes, like these ones.
Well, I'm fairly convinced that they're intradimensional. I don't think that they're an actual, you know, it might be one of those time things. You know, we're actually seeing things from the past, or they're intradimensional, because there's got to be there's something a little too strange with it, because they pop up the way they just pop in and pop out the way they do, and they just pop up in the strangest places. Like, you know, how would they even get there? So, you know, I don't know. They're there. I just don't know what they are.
Okay, 340 Dusters rule says the 9 foot tall male was making a very aggressive action towards me, screaming and ripping out a juniper tree while the others got away. Ooh,
wow.
That's
well,
scary.
he was being protective towards his group there, you know.
Still.
But yeah, I can see how that would freak you out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But then again, he didn't rip you to shreds, so
Right.
you know what I mean.
The weird hour. John Wilburn says the weird hour is here early.
Well, if we don't get weird now, man, when are we going to get weird? We've been on it for an hour and 37.
I saw a meme that was like maybe UFOs or multimillionaires from other planets. Because Jeff Bezos went to space.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lobo GTX. Tony, in the night when you are sleeping, the skunks drive your 73 Roadrunner and smoke your cigarette.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I only keep batteries in those cars. But
You thought finding Bigfoot was hard? Try finding the koala bear families that use the koala care changing tables. Let's see. Scott wants to know, do you enjoy working on the 426 Hemi and that 67 GTX?
not really. I had my fill of those things, honestly. But it makes a good video.
Doug wants to know, have you ever listened to Coast to Coast? We have.
For the last 30 years.
Some of those call-ins are great.
Yeah. I can't sleep without having Coast to Coast on in the background.
Let's see. I haven't listened to it in years. Let's see. Aviation Buff. Any news on the reverse piston challenge? P.S. Love your channel. Thanks, Uncle Tony.
No news. No, that's over. That's done.
Let's see. Bias trapezoid. Tony, what kind of headers are on your 73 Roadrunner? I want to get some for my 73 Coronet that bit.
What are those? Damn if I remember. It was 13 years ago. 10? How long ago did I put that code together? 12 or 13 years ago.
I don't know. It was a while.
Yeah, I don't remember, man. I don't remember. You know what? I didn't even buy them new. I bought them used. I couldn't tell you what brand they are. They're probably the equivalent of, I think they might have been like Blackjacks back then. I think probably the equivalent of like Flotex today.
Redford Says, which Mopar engine family is the easiest to work on in your opinion?
Well, they're all pretty damn easy, except for the 426 Hemi. It's always a gotcha with the 426 Hemi. The Slant 6 is pretty damn easy. The small block is also, I mean, for serviceability, I think the small block is the easiest of the bunch. I don't really have an opinion on that. To me, they're all pretty easy.
Wasn't Richard Holdner doing a piston swap test on 369?
I talked to Richard the other day. We were talking about doing some Jeep stuff down there, some 4-liter Jeep stuff. So he's actually, I'm waiting for him to tell me when he wants to come on for a live. And I got to ask him about that. Yeah, I know he bought that 360, and he was supposed to do a dyno swap on it, but I haven't heard anything from it since.
Sorry, I'm slowing down here. See, let's see, what does it say? Ray says, Metaman broadcasting elk sounds on a loudspeaker looking for Bigfoot, and he said he heard him, but it was just me coasting downhill with the motor off on my YZ with a worn-out brake drum.
I can see where I would be confused.
Funny. Okay, Linus wants to know, has Uncle Tony changed his mind yet on what car he would go back in time to buy brand new?
I haven't changed my mind yet. That Duesenberg was a good answer. Jeez, I don't know. No, I haven't changed it yet.
Let's see. Hang on, I'm looking for something. Hang on. What's a BFOG? They're talking to each other.
Okay.
Joe K says there's a bull on the loose on Long Island, out eastish. They're still trying to find it, police involved, etc.
I can see that. There's a lot of areas out there on the eastern end of Long Island. I remember we used to go to West Hampton, the drag strip out there. We did some testing with the Top Fuel car out there.
Okay, Hamptons.
Yeah, I could see the guy who owned that place, Joey Chamari. Wow, he was an interesting character. Yeah, I'm being nice. He was an interesting character.
Vinny says, do you know why Chevy was one of the few makers to put the distributor in the rear of the engine? I can't see any advantage and only cons.
I would think packaging is probably, so you have more freedom in front of the motor to mount, whatever is going to be up there. Honestly, I don't know. It's not just because of harmonics, because the distributor is more subject to the harmonics of the valve train at the back than is at the front. So, I would say, yeah, front mount is definitely a superior setup, but I don't know why Chevrolet and Chrysler with the small blocks and the early Hemis, they all decided to put the distributor at the back, other than possibly packaging, making it easier to package the front of the motor.
Diole, what is the most ugly option car you've come across?
Oh, damn, that's a good question, but I don't have a ready answer for it. No, I don't have it. Nothing comes to mind. But I've had some pretty oddball cars.
Roberto.
Yes.
Tony, ever heard of Stardust Ranch? It's the Skinwalker Ranch of Arizona. The guy that owned it claims to have killed a couple of gray aliens with a sword on the property. I've seen a real deal UFO on it also.
With a sword?
A sword or a sword?
A sword. No. Really? Okay, listen, this world is loaded with strange, okay? So, yeah, why not? But a sword, of all things, to kill aliens with a sword?
Dallas says, I think we need to ask the Tennessee Sasquatch the any year car question. I bet his answer would be any year Cordova.
I think that you need to work on making him a class in the AHRA. Yeah. Have a Sasquatch class. Top Sasquatch.
Oh, buddy. Let's see. Sean the person wants to know, do you ever use power tools like impacts?
Yeah, I use, it depends on what I'm working on. Yeah, impact wrenches, obviously, on wheels, front suspension parts, things like that. I have air ratchets, I never use them. I have small impact wrenches, I never use them. I never use air tools on an engine. The engine, to me, any part of an engine that's going to be worked on, it needs to be done by hand. Not to say you can't, but for me, I use manual tools on anything engine, transmission related. But yeah, there are times I break out the air stuff, but not for anything critical.
Dakota sign out says, now would be a great time to do some gas mileage videos. Seems like there's very little info on them on the internet and YouTube.
Well, one of the things that I talked to Derek for Vice Grip about was doing a hypermile challenge. Because he has a 64 Dart with a slant 6, and I have a 64 Dart with a slant 6. And I think that a hypermile challenge would be a great thing. We never got back to him.
He's busy.
He's very busy. He's usually busy.
Let's see. Jumping around here. Oh boy, Dan. My Plymouth came with one of those aftermarket coolant overflow cylinder tanks. I'm thinking of removing it as I never use one on any of my other cars. Any compelling reason to keep it?
Okay, there is. Depending,
they're going crazy. Excuse me.
Depending on the type of radiator that you have, there are two types, okay? So on a Mopar, okay, one type has a flat top, okay? The flat top radiator, right? It's like rectangular, okay? So the top tank of the radiator, flat across the top, that has to be used with an overflow tank. That type of radiator gets filled to the top, okay? And then it'll create its own air gap as it goes along. So it'll push out whatever antifreeze it doesn't want into the overflow tank, and then when it wants it back, it sucks it back in. The older style Mopars have a rounded top tank, okay? That rounded top tank, when you fill one of those rounded top tanks, you only fill it to the top of the fins. And the space on top of the fins is the overflow. So when the engine temperature goes up and it starts to want to push antifreeze out, it fills that upper tank instead. So like I said, depending on the style of radiator that's in your car, round top, no overflow. Flat top, definitely overflow. Okay. Yes, what Danny Boyd is saying is right. The track, now, regardless of the type of tank that you have, if you run the car, any sort of event, right, drag racing, autocross, anything like that, always have an overflow tank or overflow reservoir on there. So, Tony, do you remember the first time you went to the track with one of your own cars? And if so, what car was it and how did it end up going? First of my own cars I ever took to the track was in Englishtown. I was 16. It was a 69 Charger that I stripped, gutted. And we flat towed it with a rope from Staten Island to Englishtown to the track over there. And at first they wouldn't let me run because I didn't have a hood. And Englishtown had this thing, you had to have a hood, right? So we went back and forth, and they finally let me borrow an air cleaner from somebody else. I didn't have an air cleaner or anything either. And we were able to run the car with the air cleaner, and it ran some stupidly slow time, whatever it happened to be, like 15, whatever. But yeah, that was my first time.
Did you see this? John Shackelford says, bigger cars is closed, permanent, short turd, long turd, fired.
No, that's not.
I don't know.
Is that true?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that.
I haven't heard anything about that either.
It's
Jim Bennett!
It's Hot
Bennett's Hot Rods Garage and
Classic
Classic Restoration. We set it in stereo.
You want me a Coke?
You got a Coke.
Okay.
Okay.
What's up? Is everyone sub to Bennett's Hot
Yes,
Garage
exactly.
and Classic Restoration? Even though they call you Drunkle Tony.
You got a few views with that, didn't you?
He did. Did get a couple views.
Did you give the kid the Hot Wheels cars? I bet you liked those, right?
Okay. Bruce asked the question like 5 times. Hi, Bruce. I had to go out just home. Did you see this before? Would you consider 1.6 ratio rockers on Bottle Rocket? Didn't you blow trans as well?
Yeah, but it wasn't at the track. I did it on the street. I blew second gear out of the transmission that's in there. Drunkle Tony. But that wasn't at the track. That was on the street. And we did wipe out a cam, but that was on the break-in. The car had never left. What else? There was another. I think there was another breakage that we had screwing around the car on the street, but I don't remember what it was. But everything that I recapped in the video today was all of the stuff that happened at the track.
Yeah, Doug Norton saying, Jinx, you owe me a Pepsi. Well, we used to say Coke.
I like Pepsi better.
I think at the time when I was doing that, we were drinking RC.
Oh, wait, he asked me about 1.6 ratio rockers.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I couldn't ask for that motor to do anything better than what it does. I mean, I'm not being perfectly serious with you. The motor is so tight, so perfect that I don't think I would want to change anything on it until I've actually worked out the rest of the car. So.
Mexican Spec says, well, you did run over the tires.
Oh, Jesus. And the worst part about it is I put the tires there, right? Jim put the tires where they're safely out of the way. And me being an asshole that I am, I just drop them where they lay, you know what I mean? And then I go to run the damn things over.
Big Bear says, I'm waiting to see Uncle Tony juggle Jim's cats.
I'm going to bring you guys lunch.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
John Wilburn says, if Tony and I had a radio show, we'd be Junkle Tony and Big Wilbur in the morning.
Big Wilbur.
We should do that.
That's the best name.
Can you guys do a morning show?
Let's do it, man. Let's do a podcast. Let's do a podcast called Drunkle Tony and Big Wilbur.
In the morning. Morning show.
Watch out, Joe Rogan.
Sounds effects.
Big Wilbur's coming through.
Honey. Funky Jungle should be the name of your cancer project. Oh, God. It's getting late.
It's getting to the silly hour now.
Yeah, it's silly hour. They're arguing between Pepsi and Coke.
But what's your Bigfoot like?
It must be time for lasagna. Yes, Richard.
I just don't have courage in it.
Do you?
This is probably a different crowd than we had when we started this.
Right, they don't
this
know
whole
what
thing
courage
tonight, right?
is.
Have you guys ever eaten at Carrabba's, right? Have you ever had Carrabba's?
No, they don't know what courage is. Agita is the Italian word for indigestion, right?
Yeah.
And you pair Carrabba's with agita. It's a special kind of indigestion you only get from Carrabba's.
Well, I go there
Courage.
specifically to get sick. Tell me that's not weird, right?
Kansas dad's question. Jam. Have you ever worked on a Jetronic fuel injection system? I'm considering trying to rebuild the warm-up regulator.
I have, but I'm not. It's been so long, and I'm not as familiar. I couldn't give you an answer to that. But I bet you somebody in here can.
When's lasagna day? Dr. Pepper. Bigfoot likes Dr. Pepper. I cannot stand Dr. Pepper.
I don't like Dr. Pepper either.
It tastes like pepper. Matt says, Tony's first radio hour could be how he made his diamonds.
That's right. Stay with me, fellas. I'll show you how to make the big time.
Oh, funny.
You had Danny Boyd had it last week.
What? Karajava?
Yeah, he's
Where?
he had Carrabba's last week.
Oh, yeah? Did
So-
you get Karajava?
So for a couple of hours afterwards, were you like kind of like sick?
Like, they always have the same sort of, like, seasonings on everything that they make. Vinny LC says Carrabba's is the McDonald's of Italian. No.
Now Dallas is saying Graveyard Cars is gone. Okay,
Really?
so somebody tell me what the
Where do
story.
you see that? Where's Dallas saying that?
Just scroll up.
Scroll up? Where?
Wow. Okay, I just saw it.
Oh. I don't see it. Chuck Williams, thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. That's awesome.
Greetings from steamy NOLA, Uncle Tony.
Oh God, it's got to be like a sauna there. It's a sauna here. It's ridiculous. I can't imagine what you guys are dealing with down
I'm
there.
sorry, Chuck Williams. Oof.
I raced at Baton Rouge one year with Jerry Caminito's Funny Car, the Blue Thunder, and we ran down there at Baton Rouge. Holy shit! It was like ridiculous. Like fish. If you went fishing and you took the fish wouldn't care. It wouldn't make any difference. There was that much water in the air. And the mosquitoes. If you guys have never seen a Louisiana mosquito, you just they're birds. They're like birds.
Hang in there, Chuck.
But thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, he's saying I heard Gregor Cross is gone. I don't know.
Somebody give me the scoop here on Graveyard Cars. What's going on?
Yeah, we don't pay attention to anything, really. Only like what we have to get done every day. John Wilbrand says, Tony, who would our first guest be? The Predator carburetors guy or Austin Rogers of Marathon Engines in Baxter, Tennessee?
Well, I hope the Predator carburetor guy is dead, or at least I like to think that
Tony.
he is. So he wouldn't be a possible guest.
Tony.
But definitely, Austin Rogers of Paragon Engines in Baxter, Tennessee is definitely a guest that I would want to have.
I thought he was in Cookville.
Oh, I don't know. He's Baxter.
I think he's in Cookville. Let's see.
Louisiana Mosquito is my ex-girlfriend's nickname, Austin says.
Oh. What? Root beer over vanilla gelato? We talking about gelato? Let's see. Mr. Will says, I heard Graveyard Cars closed for legal reasons, but not sure.
I don't know. This is news to me.
I don't know. I haven't heard it. But I also haven't talked to anybody. Have you talked to anybody, Tony? Besides me?
No. I've just been in my own little bubble,
Hey, no, me too.
breaking rocker arms,
Right.
living the dream, you know?
Right. Over. Okay.
And his wife, Amanda.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Don't bring her.
Well, she's the
All
one that
right.
came
Don't bring
on.
her into anything. He's saying stuff. So.
Well, no, she actually came on one of the lives.
All right. Hang on.
Yeah.
Mexican Spec says maybe Graveyard Cars got fined by the EPA for using speed parts like many other shops.
I would seriously doubt that.
They don't really use speed parts.
They don't work on
They don't
anything
use
modern.
anything aftermarket.
They don't work on
Right.
anything that's emission control. And if anything, they restore these cars, they put the emission controls that they had back in, so I don't.
Huh. I don't know. Tyson, any gas additive solutions to vapor lock effective in your experience?
None that I know of. None that I know of. But I tell you what I have found, right, with the exception of Quadrajet carburetors, right? I really try to save these things for Wednesday nights with Dallas, but with the exception of Quadrajet, cars that experience vapor lock with Quadrajets, like my record does, because it has a Quadrajet on it. My experience is that most vapor lock happens in the fuel pump, because the fuel pump the fuel pump reaches the same temperature as the engine, as the external part of the engine. So the cooling system may be 180 degrees, but the metal around the engine is over 200, right? So what my experience has been that it's fuel boiling in the pump that's the biggest cause of vapor lock. If you just swap to an electric pump, bypass the mechanical pump, and just use an electric pump, almost all of your vapor lock issues are going to go away. That won't stop heat soak issues, like after you shut the car off, it takes a little while to start back up again, but it will solve your most of your driving vapor lock issues.
I don't know. Booston says Graveyard Car's website has no merch available. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. These guys now. UTG, do you remember JoJo's shop in Tottenville?
JoJo's shop.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but oh, Austin loved the Chinese Hot Wheels. Excellent.
Nice.
That's good. And did Matt, did he learn anything from that book? Because I knew he picked something up from that. I knew he would get something.
Billy Bob Holcomb says glass packs or straight pipe inside side pipes?
Depends on the tone of your motor. You know, if it's a low compression motor, right? You know, like no cam, low compression motor, glass packs definitely. You know, if it's got some squeeze to it, a little bit of a rumble, then yeah, open pipes. Hey, we're at the 2-hour mark.
We are. What's the goal for the 66 Charger? Sounds mean. So much talking about 448 that it cracked the windshield.
There's no goal. It's just to make it look good. The car's
Yeah, we gotta really work on it.
Yeah.
It's gotta go into the shop.
Yeah.
Get taken apart.
Yeah. Well, there's no goal with it, and that's pretty much why we don't do anything with it on the channel, because I really have no goal for it. It's just a car.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna.
Volvo Motors is on. Hi guys, love the Slant 6 Neon. Great job. All the best from Canada.
I just sent somebody your way that had Packard 8 questions.
Oh. It says according to Google. According to Google, season 13 for Graveyard Cars. Oh, I just jumped. Can you read it?
Oh, the show is over. Well, I'm not surprised at that
It's
at
not been picked
all.
up by Motor Trend TV, so the series is in jeopardy. Can't believe the business will fail.
No. His business will do fine, but yeah, no. Okay, the show, yeah, I can see it. They're circling the total. Motor Trend is circling the drain right now. There's a lot of stuff going on with that.
I'll need some of your conditions I bought. Bruce Gaglione says. Thank you for trying to send them. We appreciate that.
Did you actually buy us Knishes? Give them the address to the shop. But it's going to cost you a fortune to
It's
send
going to
them.
cost you so much
Yeah,
money.
no.
They're going to be packed in dry ice and all
Eat them
that.
and enjoy them, my
Yeah,
brother.
eat 'em.
Thank you.
We appreciate the thought. It's really nice of you. We're going to have to go up north and get some Knishes. We'll go, we can visit, we should have gone and visited the guys in Queens when you went to.
I was still another 200 miles.
Yeah, but you were there, you were right there. You could have gone to Mutual Drop.
All right, guys.
Dee Dee's on. I love how you
What's happening, brother, man?
lines to the big guys.
Fuck those big guys.
Which big guys? Which ones are you talking
You know
about?
who the big guys are in front of me? We're the big guys. We're the future.
Oh, Graveyard Cars.
We're the future.
Yeah, they have a channel on YouTube. Graveyard Cars, right?
Yeah. But he uploads a video like every 14 minutes on YouTube.
What are Knishes? They're delicious. They're Jewish potato.
It's like a potato pie thing.
It's not a pie.
It's
It's a
like
little square potato.
it's a sponge made out of potatoes.
A heavy square potato thing with a crust. It's really good. Google it. Jewish Knish. Knish. They're delicious.
So guys, listen, we're gonna pull a plug, right? Again, all our mods,
Thank you,
John,
everybody.
Ari, Zero, Fubar, you guys are
Come on.
awesome. Thank you. Look, it's Ultra Kathy.
Yeah. I don't have to read
Isn't she
anymore.
beautiful? Okay.
You got glasses?
She did get me glasses. And since she quit smoking, her skin is so much better.
Oh, yeah.
She has the arms of a 6-year-old. They're amazing.
Exaggerating.
So yeah, Armand's the finest people that have ever walked the face of this planet.
Ever worked the face of the planet?
Ever walked the face of this planet. Everybody contributed super chat.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, we really appreciate it. And even if you didn't have, just contributed with good conversation, we enjoy your company. So
Another great comment.
yeah, these nights, Sunday night
Funny.
just flies. These lives fly. But yeah, we're gonna call it a night. And Wednesday night. What happened? Dallas. Wednesday night Tech Talk, 7:00. So join us over there.
Okay, and then Dallas's channel.
Dallas is AHRE Drag Racing History Channel. Excuse me, Drag Racing History Channel. Yes, Garage It. And then Jim Bennett's Hot Rod Garage, Project Time Garage.
With Ryan.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
We got so many, right? We got so many things going on.
Now we're gonna be afraid that we're gonna forget somebody. We're gonna have to make a list.
Yeah. All right. That's it. All right, guys. We're out of here. Good night, all.
Good night.